All right, folks. Happy Friday. It's another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson.
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
And welcome to our show. And we're so excited to have Josh Ellsworth, the man, the myth, the legend.
The legend, yeah.
With Stahls today. How you doing today, Josh?
Doing great now. We're here. So let's do this.
Yeah. So what you been up to lately?
Oh, you name it. I think yesterday I submitted a half a dozen travel requests. So excited to finally venture out and to some events here in late summer and fall. And then
are you going to be in Fort Worth? Wink, wink.
Yeah, I may be in Fort Worth for an extended stay. I hear there's a couple events at least happening. Yeah, so doing a lot of that, and then also just it Stahls July 1st is our start of our new fiscal year, our financial year. So we've been busy into business planning and kind of seeing those business plans off. So that's always fun.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So that's great to hear. So while we're getting going here, because there's about a 20-second delay from what we say and what people see. There's some folks logging in. So we would love it if you're just joining us, if you would say hello, where are you? And then don't forget that this is a Q&A show, and we really need your questions and comments. We've got some prepared topics, but, we're probably doing a whole bunch of stuff with, I don't know, heat transfers or something today.
Yeah, anything.
We would love to, if you want to know something about that topic, we've got Josh here, and I bet you, is more than willing to answer your questions. So anyway, so please say that. And if you would please do us a favor and share right now, share that you're watching the show. And we would love to have you broaden our audience. So that would really help us out. So please do that. So we've got Ghosta's here as usual from Sweden.
Yep. Good morning, Ghosta.
And then Cindy's here from Texas. Hey, Cindy.
Always. Hey, Cindy.
Watching from YouTube. So thanks, Cindy.
Yep.
And so please say hello if you're just joining us. You ready? What do you want to do, Alan? You want to throw out that GSG commercial real quick, and then
I think let's say hello to Frank Good. He just popped on.
Oh, hey, Frank's here. Hey, Frank's here from S&S. So happy Friday, guys. Yeah. Great to see Josh on the show. Hey, Josh.
What's up, Frank?
And so let's get that going. And thank you so much for GSG for sponsoring our show. And here's a little message from them. All right, awesome. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but don't you do a lot of work with GSG?
Yeah, actually, it was one of our, I would call it COVID pivots among many.
Yeah.
We started to seek out new relationships and partnerships and started some discussions with GSG, and are happy to bring them on as one of our master distributors servicing customers in that southern U.S. region.
And they sell your vinyl products, but also the hat press and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they've been a distributor for our Hotronics line of heat presses, a very successful distributor for some time. The recent addition of heat transfer vinyl and our athletic numbering to their lineup happened earlier this year.
Great.
And I was with them, and well, of course, Marshall, you and I were there in Irving, and they had a great display with Stahls, and even in Indianapolis, they did.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just throwing Josh a softball.
The big softball, absolutely.
Appreciate the easy one to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Richard's here. Hey, Richard. And he goes, how do you stop water flooding into a building?
Turn off your faucets. I'm kidding, Richard.
Yeah. So I don't know, Richard. That sounds like a something true to life or a really bad joke.
No, it's true to life with all the rain. There's been some flooding down in Detroit and stuff down. I didn't know it was down by where Richard lives and stuff, but he does live like right on the river there in Wyandotte. So
some sandbags, maybe.
Well, I don't know, Richard. Is it coming up through the drains? Is it coming in from the river? Or yeah,
he probably has a basement. Do you have a basement,
Richard?
He
does. I have been to that house. Him and Gina have a great
How much
house
stuff is in that basement? I don't even want to know.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot, but it's 3 levels. It's an older house. It's a gorgeous house in Wyandotte and stuff. But Richard's office is on the 3rd floor, so he's safe.
Yeah.
But
good. All right. Well, great. Well, hey, let's get into some topics real quick. And the first one, and I was telling Alan yesterday, I remember when I went to the ISS Long Beach show a couple years ago, and I saw you at your booth, and you came over and you go, "Hey, let me show you this." And it was this press, so the Hotronics 360 IQ. And do you remember my reaction? I go, "This is the game changer for the industry. Is this piece of equipment?" Do you remember that conversation, Josh?
I totally remember that conversation. I was grabbing everybody I could, and I think you were one of the first people that I showed it to. And you even came back around and said, that really is one of the best products of the show because it really solves a problem.
Yeah. And I took 1,000 pictures, I think. And I was writing an article for, I believe, Images Magazine about it. And so I just think it's one of the best things for this industry in a long time. And I know that you guys you're selling what, 10,000 of them a day or some ridiculous amount, right? Like it's selling really well, but you're keeping up with the demand. So let's kind of talk about how in this day and age where a lot of equipment manufacturers can't get parts and stuff that's in a container on a boat in the ocean right now, they're like slowed down and it's like months to get stuff. You guys are still cranking these out, right?
Yeah. We definitely are having our challenges keeping up with demand, but we are increasing our outbound shipments of them, every month. And so we continue to build more and more, and the pile of back orders continues to build larger and larger, but we certainly are still building, still shipping, and managing it, I guess, to the best of our ability.
Right. And I've got this queued up here. I want to show the website for it, and then I'd like you to kind of talk about what makes this different. So can you see the screen, Josh?
Yeah. Yep. I sure can. So, well, it's right there in the headline, I guess, with what it accomplishes is that it basically presses a hat accurately. And so when you think about the benefits of a heat press in general, it's the concept that I can print when I have the order, right? And so it just solves a lot of inventory challenges for people. It lets them just make as they have the order. That's like the broad benefits of heat printing. Now, the challenge with capitalizing on the headwear category in the past is that the hat presses, the one we still make, only works on a set amount of hat SKUs that are out in the market effectively, like in an easy sort of out-of-the-box way, which is the unstructured cotton twill caps where we don't have to worry about creasing or scorching or anything. So when people would try to decorate for more of the trendy caps that were structured, even 6-panel caps with going over the seam, things with acrylic in the cap construction or wool, they would scorch, they would ruin them, and they would just ultimately have to make a decision. Am I going to put out a poor quality product or a product of this quality to my customers? And most people would say, no, I think we'll embroider hats, right? And even as a salesperson at the time coming through my journey here over the last 20 years, I was like, ooh, I have a tough time telling people to decorate like this with this result. And so we, like most things, said, let's set out and let's really solve this issue with our engineering and our Hotronics development team. And how they solved it was, and I have one over my shoulder here, you can see that little blue base on the press. That base is silicone molded and it's also heated. And so when we're applying dimensional products, I keep a bunch here. So I get this, leather patch product, which is one of the hottest sellers right now. That's thick. Okay. So by heating underneath, we're getting to that adhesive. By having that silicone mold and heating underneath, we're kind of conforming to the cap instead of leaving this really nasty scorch or crease across the top of the cap. So in short, we basically heat from the bottom and create a softer landing, and that solves the challenge.
Right. And I know from talking with tons of people that have this piece of equipment, it's been a real game changer, especially if they're into the laser etched leather patches or any type of print on demand scenario with an online store where you could just have hats and have the decoration. And then as things are being bought, you're just one after one after one. As things are happening, you're producing them and shipping them rather than making a bunch and keeping the inventory and trying to sell them. This is really a game changer for lots of shops. And this is how they can increase their profitability. And it's just, I think it's taken over this industry in the last year. Right. And
and it's also the footprint too is a big deal. So just this is my spare bedroom that got converted into an office now, but it fits in a very small space on the countertop. So whether you're out of your home, whether you have a small retail space where every square foot matters, and you want to maximize your revenue out of every square foot, or whether you want something portable where I can go print on site at an event and kind of build that into my business model. It just solves a lot of those things and creates more of an experience when you're purchasing the product as well.
Right. So if you're watching right now, if you've got any questions about this piece of equipment or maybe some funky thing that you're trying to do, please drop that in the comments. And also, if you own one of these, we would love to know your thoughts on it and how it's made a difference for your shop and your business.
Well, and I think with this product also too, and the trend, as Marshall and I were talking, Josh, I come old school where I remember when people printed 4 colors on a hat. And we were talking, and they looked, some of them, you can do it right, you can make money. But that's been long gone. And I was like with Marshall, hats need to be embroidered. But now, man, there's such great patches out there, such great leather patches, such great, laser etch ones out there. These are a market that I think if people are just going, hats just need to be embroidered now, they really need to look and see what they can do. Oh, he's reaching for. I love it when he reaches for stuff. We know it's going to be cool. Get it? Yeah.
It's like
gonna be awesome.
I'm trying to think what's within arm's reach because So I mean, look at that. The ability incredible. To do that dimension.
Yep.
And then this one I really like too,
with the crease right down the middle. Look at that too.
Metallic, and then we call it a 360 for a reason because you can put 360 degrees, but even on the mesh. And so, I mean, I know we're talking a little bit of supply chain, right? Managing on the heat press. I'll pick on my buddy Frank Good. Managing the stock of the Richardson 112s has also been difficult because these things are on fire. Like, it's a great brand, and it's just an opportunity. But you just have to be really proactive in your business and planning ahead right now and thinking. And that's really gonna you invest in equipment like this. You go a little bit deeper on inventory, and you print on demand. You start to have a recipe for success.
Yeah, and you can take an inventory position on some colors that that you're going to sell, team color, black, that type of stuff. That maybe a khaki color. That you're always going to sell them, and then you don't have to pre-decorate stuff. So that pile of hats you can use for 50 different clients.
Yeah,
So I love that. So just go deeper in your neutral shades and let the decoration bring in the color which you're going to print to order or order per client. Yeah, I think that's a really effective strategy. But this has been a fun product, that's for sure. I'd say probably the most fun product that I've sold to date because it doesn't require any twisting of the arm. You show how it works, and people just light up. They know. Yeah.
So Brian's got a great comment, and thanks for watching, Brian. I watched Jenna Sackett, by the way, and she did excellent with our Shirt Lab Women's Nexus, by the way, Josh.
Great.
I watched Jenna make several hats with different products at DAX KC. It was so simple. So,
and I actually had the chance to hang out with Brian a little bit at DAX KC. It's the first time I met him face to face. So he drove 3 hours, and I got to see him for about an hour before I headed to the airport. So Brian, it was great.
Yeah. So thank you, Brian, for that comment. And so what do you think what's the next thing that people should be doing with this press, Josh, that they really aren't doing yet? So if you own one of these, what's like the laser patches? Yeah, we get it. Yeah, the fake embroidery. Yeah, we've seen that. What's the thing that nobody's really tried yet, but they should, because somebody over here is really cashing in on that idea?
Yeah, so I think that I guess I would point out a couple areas. One is if you haven't expanded beyond caps off of the press, I think that's a huge opportunity. The reality is it's a curved surface, but it can press a logo with the same like rule set onto a high-end performance polo, jacket, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So you start to think of, okay, so there's certain MOQs on, this patch. How can I expand the products that take this exact patch, this exact size? And so then you start to think of, we're selling in an e-commerce world primarily. I start to build bundles and team stores or employee stores and take this patch with that press across more than just headwear. I would say that's number one.
So that could go on a shirt, a tote bag, really, like a scarf or something, or a blanket or whatever, right? I mean, just anything that you can get over the lip and heat press it, you're good.
Yeah, and the key is, right, I really love the synthetic market, performance polys, and the stuff that typically would scorch, because let's face it, there are a lot of people buying heat presses, right? A lot of not so good heat presses. When you invest in equipment, high-end equipment like this, and pay the money for it, you should really be looking to decorate products where it's going to be more of this space where you're not going to have a million crafters competing with you. And so by going into high-end synthetics, performance polos, you can solve the scorch mark on those with high-end logos and really make more money for your time as well.
Right. So you just increase who you're kind of what you're doing, because you're outdistancing the competition.
Yeah, because when I talk to decorators, like, and I love the, we can call it craft market, but I know a lot of decorators despise the craft market because we view them as cutting into our profits and our margins.
Those cricket people.
Yeah, those cricket people.
But
I think that's the new entry into the marketplace, and a sign of a healthy industry. So I think if you're an experienced decorator and you're so worried about those folks cutting into your price, I think you need to really take a critical look at yourself and say, maybe my model isn't right. How do I establish more value? Because they shouldn't be anywhere close to your level.
Right.
So Frank has a comment here. So it's huge. I was traveling in Louisiana this week training a new rep. We visited around 15 customers, 3 of which had the Hotronics 360. Every customer said it was well worth the purchase, and they had more than paid it off with orders coming through. Great all-around product, especially for the Richardson 112 when there is stock. So
so Frank, send me the list of the other 12 that didn't have it, and we'll give them a call and get them set up.
Yeah, right. And then Ghosta says it's on my list together with the new Air Fusion IQ. And who sells that in Sweden?
So
that's a pop quiz. Let's see how much Josh knows.
So I know an email for that, international@stahls.com, and they can connect you to a local distributor.
Yeah. Good answer. All right, great.
Why do I have a feeling GSG says, hey, we can send it, we ship to Sweden?
We'll figure it out, right?
We'll figure it out. So, and you guys sell more than just equipment. So kind of walk us through all the things that you guys also do real quick.
Yeah, so of course the patch business that we've been talking about, so leather patches, embroidered patches, flex style that we took a look at, and even sublimated twill patches, which are used on like the NBA uniform sponsor patches. That's one, like, I kind of bucket things. That's one bucket, dimensional heat transfer products. Right. Another big bucket for us is this category called screen printed transfers, which are growing quite a bit. And so that includes plastisol, water-based, and then other hybrid technologies.
And silicone, you guys have silicone too, right?
Yep. Silicone as well. And that kind of bridges into another category, which I put as, we call it heat transfer vinyl, but really it's polyurethane films for the most part. That you can process on a vinyl cutter, CAD cut, and there's finishes from glitter to basic to silicone to reflective.
Right.
So if it goes onto apparel with the heat press, pretty much we have it.
Yep.
Right. And like back when I was running shops, I was always a big fan of the numbers for jerseys. Instead of trying to print those suckers, let's just use a heat press and knock it out and not have to individually print numbers on a shirt. And you're done in 2 seconds, you're finished. And so I was always a big fan of that. And you guys still do that.
Yeah, we've seen that surge so much in the last 2 months. Because I think usually that's the numbers are
back. Sports are back.
Yeah, and it's a stock product for a lot of decorators. And so I think a lot of people kind of depleted their stock over the last 18 months, and now they're refilling for sports being back and into the future, which is a good sign.
Yeah, great.
Josh, on the screen printing transfers, how many people do you think in your water-based and other technology on those transfers, do you think that's common knowledge with most customers that you have them and that technology is available?
It always surprises me, even like a plastisol transfer that's been around since the 70s, given that it's improved, but the concept of a transfer has been around for a long time.
Right.
But when we go out to a convention, which is like a good gauge for people light up like, wow, I didn't know this was possible. And I think that it relates in a way back to the previous point of people kind of entering through the Cricut and the Crafter and the vinyl world. And then they'll use those Cricut cutters sometimes to do 24, 36, even 50 pieces, which is just nuts.
Right.
So yeah, I do think it's a constant battle of awareness. And so the way I look at it is there's like 4 different ways to decorate a shirt with the heat press, and which quadrant of the grid you land on depends on number of colors and quantity. And that helps to kind of open people's eyes on just thinking about it from a business sense.
Okay, cool.
That's very interesting. And I think the phrase, you just don't know what you don't know, right? So people coming into this industry, they've been working out of their basement or kitchen table, and they just don't have the awareness about what's possible, which of course is the reason why you need to pay attention at trade shows or read the magazines or watch our show.
Right? Yeah, and go to things like Shirt Lab. So I think like for the professional decorator that wants to separate, you have to make it a point to invest in those opportunities so you can always stay ahead and have that gap.
Yep. That's what Shirt Lab's all about. And I want to take that moment, since you just said our name, to thank you for sponsoring Shirt Lab. Since we started, you guys have been backing us, and we really appreciate that and appreciate it. And you're doing a whole bunch of stuff for us for the Fort Worth event. And it's going to be great.
How can we not, with the all-star cast you have coming? I think I might be the most psyched to attend an event to hear Gittimer, and like just the lineup is going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It is. It gives me goosebumps. Look, if you could see my arm, I got goosebumps right now just thinking about the awesomeness that I frankly, I don't know how we pulled it together. It's like the lineup, and we work really hard on it, and it's like herding cats, stuff like this. And just to get everything to piece together with COVID, and we've only moved the show 3 times, it's like trying to get it to work it's just amazing that we're heading that way and things are happening, and we're pretty excited about it. And we're so excited that you guys are part of our world, so thank you.
Yeah, I just think it's a very worthwhile thing for the industry. So appreciate you guys sticking to it.
Yeah. So got some more questions, comments. Hurley says, good morning.
Hurley from Canada.
Gosha says, Josh, your thoughts on DTF directly to film, right? Are you guys in that business yet?
No. Yet.
That's the pregnant pause, wasn't it?
I know you're researching it and stuff. I know some.
Yeah, I mean, you can't when technology like that comes through. You have to take it seriously, and you have to look at it, and you have to be on the front edge of it. I think that the technology itself has the potential to be very disruptive, right? But it also is not going to be the only thing. I think back to other breakthrough technologies, and I go back to like, there's going to be an assortment of technologies that you need depending on your business model and the particular job that you're decorating. To me, DTF really comes through clean on low quantity, definitely high color. And so if you have a business that's positioned in mass customization, it at first glance, it seems to solve a lot of the shortcomings of DTG as far as the fabrics that we can apply to easily. And it also seems to make life a little bit easier for handling a variety of artwork. So I can do a 1 color, I can do a 6 color, whatever. So it's going to be around for a long time. I think it's a very viable technology. And so my opinion is we're first generation on it. So I would sit back and wait just a bit, but wait for us.
I have a coaching client who is actually, he's waiting on his second Chinese DTF printer right now.
Yep.
He's got the first one working, and he's had to take a crash course in translating Mandarin to get it to work. Yeah. And he's buying another one just for a backup and to like maximize his workflow and stuff. And he's all in on it because it solves some issues for him. And so Yosta has a really good point here about the difference between DTF versus a screen print transfer.
Yeah.
Right? And can you outline the difference between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So screen printed transfer, and there's probably a couple different ink formulas that fall under that generic bucket of screen print transfer. But if I'll just take the most common one, which is a plastisol transfer. A plastisol transfer, screen print transfer in general, we're still burning a screen, right? Which means there's a certain fixed cost to running the job. And so screen printing or screen printed transfers start to make sense once you exceed a certain quantity because you have that fixed cost of the screen. Where with DTF, I can do as little as 1 and there's no screen to burn. So you're going to find, depending on the number of colors in the job, the breaking point to be, I would say, somewhere around the 25 to 50 pieces when you'll move from like a DTF solution of the same logo, where you'll move from a DTF solution to a screen printed transfer. But if you're doing less than 10, and kind of like adopting the technology, because there's also a piece of it that just helps to simplify my business where I don't have to think of what I need to order. It's a fit. Yeah. Great.
And I love what you said, Josh, that this is in the infancy. We're in the beginning of it, because I'm already seeing that the technology's moving. A lot of the powder adhesive on there, now they're trying to go to a non-adhesive, a liquid adhesive. There's a lot of things out there, and there's just a lot of unknowns. Actually, the one I've seen has been mostly down there by Marshall in Arizona. And there's been some very good success on it. But there's a lot of machines out there. I've heard some good and some horror stories, depending on who they are.
Well, it reminds me of early DTG phase, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when Fresner debuted that at the show.
Yep.
And I was like walking by going, what is that?
Yep.
know? And remember when everybody was always freaking out about Colorado Timberline? How are they DTGing all these shirts? And look at that thing run. And just like there was just people's heads were exploding trying to figure out how to do stuff.
Yeah, for the small business, sorry, just if I can interject one point, because I've often said this for DTG, like even where it's at today, sometimes for the small business, it's not the best investment because you have to keep that thing running and you really have to sell a lot of the products that's capable of producing. So just as a word of advice, always start with your customer and your business model, and with a very clear view of your customer and your business model and how they buy. Then you can start to go and like process all of the technology choices and see if they're a fit to actually have in-house versus contracting versus not.
Sure.
There's always been new technologies. Like when DTG first came out, I remember the thing that screen printing is going to be gone. and I ran in that
Right.
screen print circles and stuff, and I sold
Right.
DTG machines. And you know what? Screen printing's still here. DTG's still here. And I say the same thing, Josh, again, when people go, what should I do? Screen print or DTG? What is your market?
Right.
You better know your market, because maybe you don't need to do either. Maybe you need to go into a transfer type market and stuff like that. So,
right.
And that's, I think with any decoration, it's what's your market? What are you looking to do? And I love what you said on the DTF costs, because there was always these breaking points. And, you know, the best thing about DTG is that your costs are fixed. The bad thing about DTG is your costs are fixed.
Yeah, no economies of scale, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I say that on screen print. You know what? Why does it cost so much to print just a few? Because and I always tell the customer, I said, tell your client it costs the same amount to set it up to print one shirt or 1 million shirts.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's shift topics real quick. And I got a really fun one. Yep. Name, image, likeness.
Yep.
So what are we talking about here, Alan?
Wow. Well, you know, we got talking about this, Marshall, because for collegiate athletes and collegiate people, now they can start maybe trying to make a profit on their name, image, and likeness. And, you know, I have a buddy of mine who's a real good friend. His son is on scholarship at Wake Forest playing soccer. So, of course, you know, he had a meeting with Wake Forest, what's to do, and he put a call into me and said, all right, we have to remember that I'm not going to say his name right now and everything, but good kid. I want him to do well. But luckily, you know, his dad being a business guy goes, I don't think he's going to make millions. He hasn't played one game with him yet. But there is a way of branding and that people can do. So, but I think as people get into name, image, and likeness on this, it's not going to be, now, of course, the son is walking around going, I'm going to have my own brand and it's going to be millions. Easy there, cowboy.
Yeah. And I think the reason why this ties in to having Josh on the show, right, is here is a kid who plays soccer, which arguably, you know, it's not football, right? Or it's football, but it's a different football, right?
Right.
It's not as popular as another huge sport, but he could make his own logo, his do stuff, and he could put that on shirts and hats and different things. And guess what product is really perfect for that? Josh, do you have any ideas?
Maybe heat printing in general. Lots of different things. Yeah.
And we're still back to the same market. And luckily, you know, when I was talking to Scott, that's my buddy, and I just said, you know, him and I worked in the music industry together. And as we're talking, he goes, why does this sound like managing bands? I go, it is. And we're going to be hurting young cats again with it. And it's all about marketing. It's all about branding. It really has nothing to do with their ability as an athlete. It's all about marketing and branding. And I said, Scott, we have to, if you're going to do this, you got to think in units of one, you know, on the merchandise. And I said, you don't need a warehouse. You don't need to, you know, set stuff up on there. I know 1,000 people that can help out with this if you go down that road. So, but I also think too, Marshall, you and I were talking going, I think people need to be careful with these kids and athletes, because one thing you don't want to do while getting excited that they could have their own brand is there are rules to this, and you have to make sure you don't violate those, because the last thing you want to do is have an athlete just ruin his scholarship or his ability to play.
Yeah, I was thinking that if you're a shop watching, what you want to do is find out who are the marketing agencies or the sports athletic companies or whatever that are in your area that are handling this, who might have several athletes under their portfolio that you could develop a relationship with and develop the merchandise for. I think that's a better route for shops, because you don't have to get into the weeds on the legal problems. That's somebody else's thing. You can just handle the decoration thing, and which is what you're good at anyway, and not have to go through all those hoops.
Agreed.
To me, that seems like a better route. And so what you have to do is use Mother Google and find out who's doing it in your area, and then maybe reach out to these folks and discover some possibilities and let them know your expertise. And then you have ideas, and it's all about helping them make really good business decisions for that athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably a good way to go. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, as you think through it, to me, it's not much different than what a marketing agency or a brand manager would do today.
Right.
We've kind of seen this rise of the influencer a bit over the last 10 years or so. And so that was just a different vertical for those agencies or brand managers to reach. And they're already trying to serve them with merch or product in some way. And usually they're connecting that merch maybe through an e-commerce solution that makes it a little bit more turnkey, but maybe there's not as much profit there. Sometimes it's through a promotional products distributor, which ultimately feeds back into probably a contract decorator. So there's going to be a lot of tentacles and different roads to this thing. But I agree with the advice is like, it's probably not best for a traditional decorator to try to approach these athletes directly or hire for it, because they're going to get quickly outside of an area of expertise. It'd probably be better to engage, if you haven't already, with agencies that are going to service these and go through the red tape and try to decorate and drop ship on their behalf.
Right. So a couple comments here. Let's throw them out. Greg says, great overview from Josh on the decision-making process about which tools provide which solutions. Thanks, Greg, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, Greg. Hey, I haven't seen Greg in like probably 4 or 5 years. So I have to say hello and miss seeing you, bud.
Yeah, I miss seeing Greg too. Hey, Greg, when are you going to start doing your classes again? Can you drop a note in there? I know you've been talking about that. Would love to help you with that. Kim says, hi guys, moving to Arizona in 2 weeks. Kim, we need to hook up when you do that. That's where I live. So,
I'm jealous. I would love to live there.
Yeah. Well, you can. We'll let you in, Alan.
Thank you.
But you have to start your podcast first.
Oh, gosh, you had to get that in there.
Rosa asks, hey, Rosa, I haven't seen you before. Thank you for watching. Rosa says, Josh, is soft foam similar to Caesar Brick 600? Can it be used on sneakers?
Good. So let me, for the benefit of the whole audience, kind of walk through what these two products are. These are dimensional polyurethane-based heat transfer vinyls that you can order pre-cut for you, where you just heat press them, or you cut them on and process them on your own vinyl cutter. And so Caesar Brick 600 is 600 microns thick. That's what the 600 means. Yep. Soft foam is about 400 microns thick. So you'll notice right away, soft foam's not quite as thick, but the soft foam also has more of a foam-like finish. It's a little bit smoother, a little bit more pliable with the garment. So we find a lot of people like it, not only for headwear, but also for, even t-shirts and lighter weight goods. You could certainly use it on sneakers. We have some videos on how to decorate sneakers. So you're just going to want to use the guidance given on those videos, but there's no reason it shouldn't apply to a sneaker.
And that's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, if you search, how to decorate sneakers on the Stahls TV YouTube channel, I'm sure you'll come up with a couple different videos.
Right. And for people that just screen print, these are products that would be the heat transfer vinyl, the print cut, or the cut vinyl version of high density printing.
You got it
there. Now, Josh, this is where something like the 360 IQ, because on those products too, isn't it better always to, if you could heat them from both ends? Because they're such a thick product, just the heat from one side sometimes coming through there, just for stability, for adhering. Would that be true?
Yeah. I mean, there is a top heat only application that'll work great if you're decorating, fleece or cotton or whatever. But if you want to decorate a performance poly like I'm wearing, then that may be too much to not scorch these fabrics. So once you start to get into those more delicate fabrics or hats, then moving through the 360 IQ would help a lot on those thicker products.
Great. Hey, great question, Rosa. Thank you for posting. And let us know if Josh answered it to your satisfaction. Okay.
And Josh, also too, because with more heat like that too, if it's not getting down there, that's where the adhesive starts liquefying. You start getting those little edges around. And also in lines. And so you really want to, especially on poly, you don't want to go too much heat. You don't want to wreck the fabric. You don't want to have too much heat. You don't want that adhesive. flying, coming through the edges and giving you those transfer lines. So
yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rosa, you can it sounds like you like the dimensional products, so just stay tuned. We have a lot more coming in the dimensional category. It's been a trend, right? And so you're just going to see more finishes and styles that way.
Great, good. So Greg says, classes on the horizon. What would you suggest for topics? I don't know. So, the sky's the limit. I think that's a brainstorming session we can certainly help with.
Yeah, and I would just say the most successful classes that I've seen that decorators appreciate are when they can get hands-on with the product, and seeing a shop in action is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Dan's here and says shirts have been sold for pro player names and images without NFL licensing for years. Here's one I separated for a line: Steelers pro player Brett Kiesel 99 Fear the Beard tee. I see no issue with college doing the same. They make the schools money. Well, that's certainly true, and I think there's a difference between NFL and college a little bit. But I like that comment. I think the thing is just doing it so you're conforming to all of the NCAA's rules on it. That's kind of what we're talking about. So, which I'm frankly not an expert on it, and I would need to see some guidelines and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
and the guidelines on these amateur athletes too, they're being pretty strict on them, because it's not just on what's decorated and how it's used. It's also where it's used. It's also lifestyle choices and stuff. They just don't want these athletes.
Well, they're not going to see a college quarterback endorsing Jägermeister. I don't think you're going to see that,
right. And that's the thing. So they're being pretty good on it. And like I said, I have a friend there, and so he said the way when his discussions with Wake Forest, they said, we're actually seeing this as a positive, because now if the young athlete, first time away from home, we all know college life and been there and stuff. But, now they have to start thinking about they are part of a brand, they're part of an image. And it is a great way for them to learn business, and that every action has positives and consequences too.
I'll tell you, I don't think I could get away with the crap I pulled off when I was in college.
The Ellen Howe brand when I was at college age would not have been good.
Oh, man. Yeah, I went to Florida State from 82 to 86.
Mm-hmm.
Things were different then.
Yeah, we were in a different world. So
yeah. All right, cool. So let's switch to a new topic, and I think this is a fun one. And it's Free Britney. And I came across this.
We've all been following it.
I came across this article here, and I wanted to share that with everyone. And you guys can see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man stuck with 10,000 free Britney T-shirts after trying to make money from the Britney Spears case. And of course, they used the spelling for the area in France and not the actual name for Britney Spears. So this is 10,000 shirts. This isn't a small amount. And so kind of the idea that I wanted to share here is just to chuckle over, what's the German word for enjoying somebody else's misery? Schadenfreude, right?
Yeah, Schadenfreude.
I don't know if I pronounce it right, but it's just spell check, people, right? Look stuff up. The old carpenter adage, measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
It is very applicable to this industry, right? And I think we need to be doing that. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, my wife just brought me a Chick-fil-A biscuit. Thanks, honey.
Jody's amazing.
So anyway, I think this is really kind of an interesting thing. And we have all made mistakes. I make mistakes constantly. I've never said that I'm perfect, but in our process, we have to kind of have some checks and balances here. So the topic I want to talk about today is, what are we doing in our shops to make sure that we don't do something stupid like this?
Right.
And what do you think about that, Josh or Alan? We're just curious.
That's a big mistake. That's a 10,000 piece mistake on something that I don't know how he's going to sell those and get rid of them. There's no going back on it. Marshall, we were talking that goes up there. That's a big one. That's just like marketing, catastrophe. That's up there with New Coke. That's up there with the Chevy Nova in Latin America. That's not a good one.
Do you know the Chevy Nova story, Josh?
No.
Chevy Nova, great car.
Tell that real quick.
Chevy Nova is a great car. Their sales in Mexico, Latin America were nothing, and they couldn't figure out why. Nova means no go. Whoopsie. Yeah, that's a problem. And but I think this was a guy with a great idea. What can I do on a meme? But man, one, he didn't do his research. Two, he didn't. He just, this is not good. Right. This is bad.
Yeah, so I have a couple pieces of advice here because we've definitely all done something similar, and you wouldn't believe the amount of calls we actually take from decorators wanting to cover mistakes. And so we do quite a decent business in the cover mistake. What products will go over this that you won't be able to see through. And so usually just as a guide, we recommend, a charcoal or a dye blocking adhesive product gives you really good opacity. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can come up with something creative like a rectangle design for the guy that has 10,000 shirts that's watching, order a heat transfer and cover it with the right term. Maybe there's a way to save it. So that's number one.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a way to leverage the PR. That's what I'd be looking to do if I were him. Clearly, he has an opportunity to come out and own up to this mistake and put his face with it. And I'm guessing that there's a creative way to turn it into marketing.
Oh, yeah, make lemonade out of the lemons, right?
Yeah, so I would definitely do that. And then, just from a process standpoint, I do think having multiple checkpoints in the process before something goes to print. The most expensive place to catch a mistake, in the heat printing world is after the shirt's been decorated. So I usually recommend putting your highest paid employee at the heat press because they're the last line of defense before not only you ruin the transfer and all the labor there, but you ruin the garment.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So a couple comments. Amir's watching. Hey, Amir, thank you for watching. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, Amir, if you can, let us know where you're from. I don't think you've been on the show. I don't remember, Marshall. Yeah. Let us know where you're from, and thank you so much for watching.
Right. And Greg says SOPs, and training how to use SOPs. So what are you trying to say, Greg?
I don't know. The kilo learning is repetition.
Yeah. Right. And Cindy says, now I'm hungry. I might have to jump out early for lunch. Anyone going to Applique Getaway in Dallas, July 23rd to 25th, which is run by our friend Christine Shreve.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be there, but no. I know lots of people are going because there's lots of comments about it on Facebook. So, I'll be in Dallas in September for some event. Some event happening in September. Actually, it's going to be in Fort Worth.
I know, Marshall. I know a event you need to attend. It has great speakers. I mean, when you can see Jeffrey Gitomer, Richard Greaves, Mark Coudray, Jason Rank. I mean, you got to go. So look that up, Marshall.
Get your tickets here. Shirt Lab, Fort Worth.
Absolutely.
And we're selling tickets every day, and we probably won't sell out since it's a 600-seat auditorium. But there's going to be a lot of people there. I can tell you right now. There's lots of talk, and I think the most common thing I'm hearing is that people are going to come in to walk the Fort Worth show on Saturday, and then they're going to Sunday is our networking event Sunday night, and then education's Monday and Tuesday. That seems to be the going thing right now. So
and that's a great deal having them back to back. Of course, I know our sponsor GSG is based out down there at their headquarters in Dallas, Fort Worth. They always do it big there, and they're going to have everything. And I'm sure there'll be a big Stahls display in their booth, and it'll be a good time.
I'll be going for. I think I'm flying in like the first day of the show. So I'm getting there the first day of the Fort Worth impression show. And then I have a class the Saturday morning. So
right, sure,
right.
Yeah, I'm flying in the 8th. I'm there from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Wow.
Because I got some work to do, and then I'm teaching 2 classes. One's on Thursday and one's on Friday. I'm teaching my marketing class, and then I'm teaching my Need for Speed class, which I believe is the one that Alan interrupted me once with.
Oh, really? How did I interrupt
the class that you jumped in and you sat in the back and made fun of me the whole time?
No, that wasn't that one. The only class I jumped in of you on that I remember
was the sustainability class.
Sustainability, but I didn't make fun of you. I did ask one question, but that's the first time we ever met. You invited me to that class. That was
years ago, right? I don't teach that class anymore.
That was at Long Beach.
So, but anyway, you can go to the ISS Fort Worth thing, and you can sign up for my classes. Sign up for Josh's classes. What are you teaching there, Josh? I'm
teaching so many classes in between now and then. I'd have to go back and look, but the concept is all about profit. And I'm not going to remember the exact title. It's much more clever than this, but it's something about turning your heat press business into a lemonade stand. And I'm relating some basic concepts just about business and how those can apply to your decoration business.
Right.
And Jenna's speaking there too. So we have all kinds of, we have like 6 classes between.
Oh, good. I've been wanting to meet her in person. So, all right. So Greg says management staff is the worst offender when not following SOPs regarding art approvals.
Absolutely.
Or regarding anything. Let me tell you, I was talking with one of my coaching clients yesterday, and it's typical that they put in all these processes and the owner swoops in and goes, hey, ignore all that. Just do this.
Yeah.
Which creates all types of, it's like throwing a boulder into the lake, right? There's all these ripples that happen where the employees are going, well, why do we have to follow him if he's not going to do it, right? So
remember when we had Justin Lawrence from Oklahoma Shirt Company on, he said the worst orders are the ones he puts in. They put it right on top. They go, this is a Justin order. Because it's all screwed up because he just goes around SOPs. He goes, so I've stopped doing that. I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Right.
Is the owner. And above Greg, Amir told us he's listening in.
I missed that.
He's listening in from Tunisia. So
thank you, Amir. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Let more decorators in Tunisia know about us. Thank you so much.
Josh, does Stahls offer a sample pack of the new thicker HTV that is comparable to the Brick 600? We use a brick a lot and would like to try yours. You have a wider color palette, but they need to work on with another. Right?
And Josh, Hurley is in, I believe, Hurley, correct me, you're in Alberta, Canada, if I remember right.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so we have, we went on a big initiative to have samples of everything since people couldn't get out to shows last year. So you certainly have that. You can call customer service and get one, or we can drop the link. I can drop the link afterwards in a comment to the website. The other thing, just while we're on this topic, I want to point out, Hurley, is not only do we have a lot of colors in the standard soft foam, there is a textured version, which is really cool. That has like, I don't know, just like a grain to it, almost like a tree bark grain. And then there is also a printable version. So if you don't find if you have a solvent or an eco solvent or a latex printer, you can buy the white version. You can print whatever color you want onto the product to get your own custom Pantone match.
Oh, okay. And
Very
or
nice.
A pattern or something really cool.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
I love that. The artist in me goes click, click. Oh,
yeah.
Right. And Dan's got a great comment here. I've been responsible for 1 or more spelling errors in my life, and one actually got printed. About only 350 shirts passed by me and 6 others. None of us caught it, but the customer did. Now, even though I'm the only artist here, it passes a designated proofreader after me, then a screen room operator, then the press people, and then the catcher. We need multiple people knowing that they are also responsible for reviewing, checking, cross-referencing. We cannot assume others, and he had more to say than they got cut off, right?
Right.
So great comment, Dan. And let me tell you how I proofread the index finger, 1 word at a time, just like that. And I have Grammarly. As you guys know, I create lots of content. And for some reason, my left-hand index finger doesn't hit the R key hard enough. And I don't know why. I need to do little push-ups with my finger or something. And what happens is words like you and your, you know, and I always don't hit the R on your, so it says you. And of course, Grammarly thinks you is spelled right, right? So I have to physically, I do it all the time, one word at a time with my index finger. Is that right? Is that right? Is that right? And I'll do that I do that all the time. Emails, blog articles, whatever, any kind, you know, magazine articles I'm writing. I always do that to see if I can find that mistake, right? And sometimes I find it and I'm like, oh, I'm glad, and I fix it, right? So
sorry, I'm cracking up. I'm cracking up offline on John's comment. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right. Oh, my wife is a tattoo artist. Her spelling errors cost a lot more than mine. That's great.
Yeah, and I've been to John's shop. He's in Richmond, Indiana. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
No regrets.
Oh, no regrets at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And let's scroll up here. Cindy says, I'll see y'all at Impressions in Fort Worth. Cindy, we need to get together. Okay.
Yeah.
We will not be able to stay over for Shirt Lab. Total bummer. Sorry, we can't be there.
You know, Cindy, you watch enough, so I don't know we can let you slide on this one. She didn't come to Irving, hurt me personally deeply. I was weeping. And can't stay over to Shirt Lab. I think we make time for the things that are important. I think she just won't stay over for Shirt Lab.
I promise I'll wear deodorant.
Yeah. No, Cindy, I hope to see you in Fort Worth. It'd be great meeting you in person. But yeah, you're like family. You're on here enough, so we can't let that slide.
Right. Ghost says, Josh, any plans on Spirit Sale for Europe?
Yep. So for those watching, Spirit Sale is our e-commerce platform that allows you to launch web stores to clients and also send online quotes and collect payment and organize production workflow. So again, setting realistic expectations. I don't feel confident saying yes to Europe. Our next goal is to expand into Canada. So I don't think, I don't see us getting to Europe anytime soon. So sorry for that. It is US right now.
Is it just the monetary and taxes and that hang up?
You got it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. I don't even, my brain doesn't work on that stuff. So, speaking of brains, Greg says artists can't spell right brain, left brain thing for sure. That's totally true. I can't do math. I'm this is my helper right here, calculator. Right. I need one of those, even for simple things, just to make sure it's right. And that's why I love Excel spreadsheets, actually Google Sheets, because all you need to do is make the formula correct, and then everything else is right. Mm-hmm. And that really helps me. Hurley says, great to know. Thanks. Love your silicone gray protection pads. Don't make a press without one anymore.
Very good.
So another way to fix scorch marks. So that's what we set out to solve. Probably the biggest problem in the industry.
Yeah. Right. Hurley also said too, I was wrong. He's not from Alberta. He's from Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I showed that, I think.
Did you? Okay.
Say it out loud, right?
I just didn't say it.
Yeah, and Cindy says someone has to get back to the shop and work.
Oh, this making money thing. Such a capitalist. We love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That job thing.
Trying to just have a successful business. What's up with that?
Right. And hey, we're almost out of time. And I don't think we're gonna get to that last topic. We'll see.
I don't think we are either.
So so Josh, where are you going to be next? Where can somebody see your equipment or talk to somebody about what you guys do?
Yeah. So me personally, I will be at Impressions Atlantic City next,
I'll be there. We'll have to hang.
Yep, end of August. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Our team will be many places in between. We were just at ASI Chicago. I think Jenna is at GPX Meadowlands, if I have that right.
Right now. It's going on right now. Yeah.
Right.
Which is going on right now. And I'm sure there's ones in between there that I've forgotten about. But we have our complete event schedule on Stahls.com of everywhere we'll be.
And I'm sure the same time as Impressions Atlantic City is Dax Tinley Park going on. Yeah. So you'll probably have people there. I'll be at Dax Tinley Park. I'll miss both of you.
Yeah. Well, what we're still going to try to do is to do our show for multiple trade shows, right?
Absolutely.
That was one of our goals, Josh, is he's going to be at DAX. I'm going to be at Atlantic City. Can we do our show at 2 trade shows at one time? Do you think we can pull it off?
I'll be driving to Atlantic City with my video production manager, who's very talented. So if you need help, I'll volunteer his services.
Are you driving to Chicago?
Chicago, you're going to be on your own, I think.
Helps me none. So see, but that defeats our goal was say, can we do a show from separate places with the worst possible internet at all ever? Yeah. Let's see what we can do.
Well, I just upgraded my hotspot. Right. So my hotspot that I travel with, because I don't trust airport, whatever. Right. I have my own hotspot, is now upgraded to 5G. Right. So maybe I'll have a decent connection.
Good.
So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it didn't go too bad at DEX Kansas City. I got a little lucky on that one, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. So, Josh, what you doing this weekend? Got big plans?
Yeah, I do actually. So my mother-in-law is watching my 12-year-old daughter. Has her overnight with her cousin tonight. Uh-huh. So my wife and I are gonna head out towards Pittsburgh, grab some dinner somewhere, and then maybe somewhere with the band and see where we end up after that.
I love it. That's great.
Sounds like he's heading to the Strip District.
Yeah, it should be. I think I'll end up in Greensburg. Technically, there's a couple things I want to check out there. But yeah, I was down in Pittsburgh 2 weekends ago and spent some time down there.
Well, good.
That's a little hike for you too. That's about an hour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour. I'm in Uniontown. So
yeah. So I lived in Bridgeville for about 8 years.
Oh, great!
When I lived in Pittsburgh, so yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then next week I'll be driving to Michigan. So we got some meetings up there, some retirement party fun. So I'll be up there next week.
I'm around. I'd love to, hang out. But yeah, I know you got business.
Well, I'll connect with you on the schedule and we'll see if we can make it happen.
That'd be great. I have to be in Chicago at the end of the week, but beginning of the week, I'm not leaving till like Wednesday. So
great.
Let me know. So
we got some more comments before we go. Dan says, we need an autocorrect app on the screen printing presses and digital printers. Yeah, what's our version of whiteout?
Yeah.
Well, Frank says, great show, guys. Good seeing you, Josh. Have a great weekend. And then Dan says, hey, Josh, my wife is from Payne Marion.
Point Marion, PA. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the basketball courts there in my youth. I actually went to the same school district as that town goes to. So.
Oh, well, great.
Cool.
So Josh, don't go anywhere, but we got to end the broadcast. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week. Yep. We appreciate you and can't wait until we can see everyone in person. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.